Hello, fellow beach maniacs and island music lovers. Welcome to the Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast, where we dive into the stories behind the music. I'm your host, the Beach Maniac himself, Bill Hurley. Hello, everyone. This is Bill Hurley, your host of the Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast. And with me today is Trop Rock legend, Don Middlebrook. Hello, Don.
How are you, Bill?
I'm great. By way of introduction, Don is commonly considered to be a founding father of Trop Rock, with his silky, smooth voice, natural talent as a prolific songwriter, and with a rich history of working hard and performing year-round at virtually every type of venue from northern Michigan to Key West, Florida. Don is one of the most respected and revered musicians of the Trop Rock genre.
Oh,
He's
that's
won,
so sweet.
well, it's true. And he's won Songwriter of the Year and Album of the Year awards from the Trop Rock Music Association, among many other credits. And he's released, you can correct me if I'm wrong, about 20 albums in your illustrious career.
I would say that's close.
Yep. So, Don, welcome to the Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast, and thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. This is fun.
I know you recently returned to Michigan from Key West, where you performed as part of a weekend celebration of Jimmy Buffett. What can you
Correct.
tell us about that experience?
Well, I had gotten the call a couple months prior that this event was going to be a big deal and I should be there. And I really, frankly, either didn't follow up or didn't hear from anybody. And then I got the call from Margaritaville saying, listen, we got this parade outside. They got all these events. And we need somebody to come in here and hit a home run at the bar restaurant, and we think you're the guy. So as much as I really love my summers, especially Labor Day weekend in Michigan, it's boating time. It's the last hurrah for the summer. I felt it was too nice of an invitation. And so Lori and I flew out on Thursday, and I played Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Margaritaville. It was packed. They had the remote working there from Radio Margaritaville, and it was hotter than bejesus. So I'm thankful that I was playing inside, and it was a great thing. And now they want to make it a tradition. So looks like my Labor Days in Michigan are on hold for a while. I'll be back next year.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. So did you ever get to meet Jimmy Buffett?
No, it's very interesting. I was in the backstage so-called locker room when he was napping with the Coral Reefers one time in Detroit. And I had to go do something. I don't know what I was doing, but by the time I walked out, he walked out of his nap and talked to everybody. How this ever started with me was Greg Fingers Taylor left the band after 29 years and called me and said, do you want to get together? And I'm tired of the big stage. I want to do some albums, do some traveling, but not the pace we're going, and I'm available. And if you go back and listen to Fingers, without question, one of the best harmonica players ever. And we went on road for 4 or 5 years and cut 5 albums, and I got to know the rest of the guys in the band. And then, of course, Doyle got into my life. He's the sweetest guy on the planet, and he plays pedal steel, and the world's so different.
Doyle Grisham.
Doyle Grisham, yeah. You can record. I can record in Michigan, and he can send me tracks from Nashville, and we can take them and cut them and paste them. So we don't have to be in the same studio.
Right.
And to be playing with the Coral Reefers or anybody at that level, the quality of player you get and the performances you get. Doyle's so sweet because one time he said to me, he goes, Don, what I love about your music is you don't give me those same chords that everybody else does. You go to some minors and you get some transitions that allow me to do what I do best, which is compliment. And he goes, simplicity locks us in. Chords of some complexity gives me a chance to really, show my stuff. So I do all my best to make sure Doyle gets the space he gets, and Fingers used to get his space, and that's how you get great players.
Right. And I know Doyle played for you on the Guitar Island album. Did he play on some other albums as well?
Yeah, I've used him on several tracks. Last few I did were just individual releases, and he played on those. I got to tell you a cute story. Uh, I had him booked for either a gig or for some studio time, and he called me and goes, "Don, I hate to ask you this, but is there any chance we could delay those tracks for a week? There's this guy named Jimmy Buffett that told me I have to be down in somewhere." And I laughed and I go, "You're kidding, right?" Like, he goes, "No, are you okay with that? I don't want to upset you. Are you okay with that?" I go, "I'm okay, dog." And he's always so, when I'd go through the list, if I was playing at Meeting the Minds in Key West, I had him on stage a few times and we'd go through the list, and I'd say, "What key does Jimmy do, come Monday?" And because I'm a little lower range and I want to find my sweet spot. And one time I said, "What about six-string music? I love that song." And he goes, "Don, you need to know this. You're the only person that's ever played with the Coral Reefers and played six-string music. Jimmy has never, ever played that live." And he goes, "I wasn't on the recording, to my knowledge, and he never played it live. So you can always say you're the only one that's played with the Coral Reefers that song."
Well, that's awesome.
He's just that kind of guy. He treats you with not only respect you probably don't deserve, but he doesn't. It's an even bar, and he's just a sweet, sweet, sweet man. He even called me about a week ago and apologized for. I thought I had him for 2 shows in Gulf Shores, and they had him going off the second time, so I only had him for 1 show. And he goes, "Now I want to make sure that you're not upset with me that I couldn't play that second show. They carted me off to another gig. I don't want you to be upset." I'm like, "No, Doyle." He's just a sweet guy.
He's still playing with the Coral Reefer Band, and
he still is. He's humble as all get out.
Yeah, as we were just talking about off camera here, I had the chance to meet him last night in Milwaukee, prior to their performance in Milwaukee. And so, and I agree. I mean, everything about him, just a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And talks to people like me.
To be that accomplished was one thing. To be that accessible and sweet and kind to people.
Right.
I mean, that's something that's an example of what you want to be as a human being. So,
right.
I was a soft spot for that kind of person.
You run into that a lot in the Trop Rock community. I know I do.
Awesome.
Now, still on the Jimmy Buffett topic, you never met him, but you did steal his TV guide.
Yes. And Fingers brought up this several times because he said, Bubba, they called him Jimmy Bubba. He goes, "Bubba wants his TV guide back." And actually, Jimmy played at DTE in Detroit one time, and he said on the microphone, there were some people had T-shirts that were on the big camera, or the big cam, I guess is, that said, "I stole Jimmy Buffett's TV guide." And Jimmy said, "Is this the state where my TV guide is at?" So he was fully aware of the situation. It was really, I would say it started innocent. We were, how do I explain this best? Bands are fun. Bands are like herding cattle sometimes, or cats. Mm-hmm. We were down in Key West, and all the guys wanted to do was party and fun and, screw off, and nobody wanted to do anything historical, or and I try to keep them out of the bars as long as I can. I don't like drinking before I play anyways. Okay. So I said, "Come on, let's do something fun. Let's get on mopeds and see if we can find out where Jimmy Buffett is." And I'll be doggone, I just went to the hotel lobby and asked the clerk, or the teller, and she said, "I know exactly where he lives." She wrote me down the address.
Wow.
So we get down there, and stupid me, I've got probably my hat on, a Michigan shirt, and I can't figure out which one's his place because it's kind of walled up. So I look in a mailbox, and the first thing I pull out is a TV guide that says Jimmy Buffett. And I swore I looked at a camera because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was not a crook. And I just rolled it up, put it in my pants, and off we went. And then I got back, and I was scared, and I put it under the bed mattress like an idiot. And I didn't know what to do, and I got out of there in about 2 weeks and took it back to Michigan. Now I have interstate felony, I think, for stealing mail. But he stole some sardines or something at a grocery store one time. So
do you have the TV guide? Do you have it up on your wall, or does it really not exist?
Well, what happened was, everything happened in the song appropriately. I lied about it being on the mailbox that I found on the ground because I didn't want to admit I'd stolen something. And then my cleaning lady came over when I got back to Michigan and said, "Hey, did you see the TV guide on the coffee table?" She goes, "Yeah, it was old. I threw it out." And I said, "Well, there you go. There's my song." And of course, I reclaimed it. I don't know what to do with it. My goal was to meet him and give it back to him.
Yeah. Right.
And of course, we've lost him now, and I don't really. I'm a pretty sensitive guy. I almost cry when I do the song now because the bridge says, "If you see Jimmy, tell him I've learned my lesson." And of course, we're not having the opportunity to return the TV guide, so I think at some point, whenever I get close to when I'm gonna not play as much guitar, I might donate it to a charity so we can raise some money. But
there you go.
It's here.
You see, Jimmy, you tell him I have learned my little lesson. I paid the ultimate price for my confession. He'll be glad to know I have learned what life's about. You see, just last week, my cleaning lady, she accidentally threw it out. I can't deny it, I can't lie. I stole Jimmy Buffett's TV guide. Pray to prison, I don't know. Hope he don't miss his favorite TV show. The song's my way to apologize. I stole Jimmy Buffett's TV guide.
And you also wrote a song about Key West legend Captain Tony. How did that come about?
Well, that's another, this is a very interesting business. I'm going to tell you this. One of the greatest things Jimmy Buffett gave us was he wrote about real places and real people. In fact, when I was down in Key West this last time, a lot of people know this, but the guy he wrote Pirate Looks at 40 about was the original bartender he met at the chart room with Tom Corcoran when he first got to Key West, and his name is Phil Clark. So that song is about Phil Clark, all those lyrics, because Phil was kind of a piece of work. Well, when I was playing Margaritaville this trip, his son Flip, Phil Clark's son Flip, showed up at my gig just to say hi, and he wanted to hear the song, and we bonded. And this is what happened with Jimmy Buffett. He went to Key West after being rejected in Nashville, where you sit in cubicles and write crafty songs about things that probably never even happened.
Yeah.
He went to Key West, he found characters, he found buildings, he found Captain Tony. He found a lifestyle that he wrote about the facts and figures of what was going on. But what I learned was to be that kind of writer. I wanted to be that kind of writer. I wanted to live the adventures of the songs. So I found myself going to Key West 3 or 4 times a year. And of course, spending a lot of time with Captain Tony, whose 8th wife, by the way, Marty, is from Michigan and went to Michigan State. Graduated 2 years before I did here at Michigan State and was in the same dorm room. We've become really good friends. His kids, one of his kids, Coral, she's a sweetheart. And I see them when I'm in Key West. So this is the kind of life Jimmy lived and I wanted to be a part of it. And unfortunately, when we lost Captain Tony, I had not written that song. I wrote that after he passed. And I didn't know what to do with it, to be honest with you. I liked it, but I don't like writing about... He's a legend, so it wasn't a friend, but I didn't know what to do with it. I finally released it. Then I get a call from a lawyer in Key West that says... He says, "I represent Captain Tony's family. We need to talk." And I go, "Oh, God, what have I done?" And he goes, "Can we use this for Captain Tony Days? The family absolutely loves this song." So, and the most interesting thing about, if you go back to what I'm talking about, Jimmy's ability to pull from the characters. If you hear the end of the song, after we lost Captain Tony, and I'm playing with Fingers, and I said, "Fingers, I want you to say, I'll take it from here," because he was the next legend in the Key West family, in my mind, because now we lost Captain Tony. So when he goes, at the end of the song, before he plays a solo, and we go back and honor the tribute of Last Mango in Paris, we use that melody at the end. I had Fingers go, "Hey Don, Fingers, I'll take it from here." And that was our way of honoring Key West, the legends, the ladder of musicians, talent, and personalities that had dominated Jimmy's writing, had dominated Key West, and had made that place so special for music writers like myself, Buffett, and all the others that are inspired by that. So I know it's a long way of telling you what fires me up about writing, but that's what captured that song for me.
Yeah.
Hey Don, Fingers, I'll take it from here.
So tell me a little bit more about your songwriting process. You like to write about real people, real places, real things.
Correct. I did some time in Nashville with the cubicle writing. We used to call them hat songs, like cowboy hat songs. Mm-hmm. They're good. They're crafted. They're amazing. But they don't most of the time happen. So for me, I go back to the roots I learned from Jimmy. I don't write about anything that didn't happen. Like 99% really happened. And I also try to write things that matter. I just heard a couple songs when I was at the restaurant doing some work, and I listened to some of the songs, and they're good players, good singers. But I'm like, what are you saying? I mean, what does it matter what you're saying? Are you making an impact? Is it a positive one? Is it worthy? So I start with my lyrics first to come up with something that matters. Mm-hmm. I have a song that I'm kind of closing the shows out with that's called "I Have a Friend at Every Exit." And it's literally true, because when I'm driving to Florida, I can drive by Woodstock, Georgia, and go, well, that's where they live. I know those people live in that place.
Yeah.
And you're never alone if you're having a friend at every exit. So that song is about that, traveling troubadour musician that's trying to find his way. And as much as my brother always worries about me, what happens out there? You're alone, you're driving all those miles. Well, when you have a friend at every exit, you're good. So that's what that song's about.
All right. You got a song called Beach Life. This beach life is just right for me. Is that sort of autobiographical?
Well, that came from a really dear friend of mine that I just love these guys. We do a lot. Lori and I travel with Kim and Jay all the time. And he has 2 great kids, a couple boats, 2 homes, beautiful wife. And one day we're probably having beers, and he goes, Don, I really want your life. I go, really? I go, you got a great life. He goes, well, you just sing to the sand. And I go, Jay, I have never sang to the sand once in my life. And he goes, well, you know what I mean, you're always... And I thought about, what if a guy was to do and throw it all away and do what he wanted to do? And he sells boats for a living, so I had that in there. I just bought a new Taylor. We had some great adventures on his whaler up in northern Michigan, which was a little dangerous, to be honest. And so I brought all those elements in, and it's really kind of a Jay song for imagining a life that's you're not probably going to do, but you feel like you do when you go to the beach. You feel like you've cashed it all in, and you've taken in the ocean, the feel, and you go, this is living. So that's what that's about.
I agree.
Feels just right. Oh, the this beach life feels just right to me. Now wouldn't it be kind of funny?
So, if someone weren't familiar with Don Middlebrook and you wanted to introduce them to your music, what 2 or 3 songs would you pick for them to listen to and why?
Well, that's a great question. I've written over 150 songs. I wouldn't say that means they're all good. Some get more attention than others. Beach Bar Serenade is, I know on Spotify it's over 350,000 hits just on Spotify.
Wow.
It was well produced because I had a Grammy-winning producer, although all the guys I work with are amazing. But it's about going to Mount Dora, Florida. And I was told to go to Mount Dora, Florida by some friends that said, oh, it's a lot like Saugatuck, Michigan. You're going to love it. And you'll find a bar right on the water, got your name all over it. So I went down to Pisces Rising, and Annie, the owner, was a little tough nut, and I wasn't getting over at all. There was all these local guys that were, grabbing all the gigs, and I thought, well, I'm just going to write a song about her because she likes the attention, but I'm not getting the attention. So I put in about going to Mount Dora, where there's the moss and the palm trees grow. On my way to Key West, I wrote all those lyrics about it. It's right at Pisces Rising, right at St. Annie's Island. She loved that part.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty soon, we got her done, and she calls me and she goes, well, I understand you bought a place here in Mount Dora. I said I did. And she goes, well, good, because you can be my house band now, because I just got the Orlando Sentinel to do a big article about you in that song. So it worked like a charm. And when I ever hear that song, I think of Annie, who's now passed. And then, just to give you an idea this is why you want to write about stuff that really matters. Not only do people in Mount Dora love it, but I'm down in the Keys one night at the Tiki Bar, and it comes on the radio, probably Pandora, and this couple starts dancing like right kitty cornered me at the bar. And he goes, come on, Beach Bar Sandy, this is your song. And
Wow.
They're just loving the song. They know all the lyrics, and I'm about to cry. And I say to them, I say, you know anything about the song? And they go, we love this song, but we don't know this guy Don Middlebrook. Yeah. Well, can he buy you a beer right now? And we're buddies. Now we're buddies. See?
That's awesome.
So it has to be. I go back to my roots. You write about stuff that really matters. You write about stuff that has a message of depth, and you write about things that really happen, and they come back to you like a boomerang when you least expect it. It meant something to somebody, or somebody's connected to it.
There's a place on the way to Key West. I stopped in for a little rest, where the moss and the palm trees, they both grow. I heard this little Caribbean sound right down in the center of town, and now I call this place my home. It's where the water meets the sun. I just had to grab me some. Oh yeah, those cornflakes and margaritas, Caribbean cowboys, senoritas. And to this day I'm still amazed. They let me sing it, a beach bar serenade.
And one of my personal favorite Don Middlebrook songs is Bike Around the Island.
Oh.
And the reason I like that so much, it kind of connects with me. My wife Diane and I were down in Key West a couple of years ago for the Mile Zero Music Festival, which is more of an Americana kind of music festival. And we rented bikes, and we just biked around the island, and we went from venue to venue, to see the artists sing.
Sure.
And it's just such a great way to bike, to get around that island without dealing with the traffic. And it was so much fun just to be able to go and see, artists musicians in one bar or another bar.
Sure.
And so that really connected me. Is that song about Key West?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I hate to keep going the same well with this, but we travel a lot with Jay and Kim, and they're Michiganders, and we were down there, and he's a ex-college basketball player, big guy, and it was the day that I know that Lori and my friends, they all go, okay, can we possibly put the phone down and the guitar and do something different? So we got bikes, and he had a 12-pack on his back, knapsack or whatever, and he all of a sudden his back goes out. He's about 15 years younger than me. So the old man ended up carrying all the beers and the bicycle. But we biked around the island and we had a ball. We had a ball with it.
Yeah.
I will tell you this is really cute. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. You know the song. I've gone back to my listening to it and make sure my articulation was correct. Because this woman come up to me at one time and she goes, "Can you do that song about the one-eyed dog?" And I go, "I don't have a song about a one-eyed dog." I mean, really? She goes, "Yeah, you're bike riding around the island with a one-eyed dog." And I go, "It's the one I love." So I go back to my car and throw a CD and go, "Jesus, what have I done?" You know?
I ride around the island with the one-eyed dog, with the one-eyed dog, with the one-eyed dog, with the one-eyed dog, with the one-eyed dog. I ride around the island with the one-eyed dog.
Well, I told the story last August to a group of people in Saugatuck that a great gig I do at Holiday Hill, and they're all from Detroit area, and they're a family, and the kids all get a kick out. So I come to the gig this year, and they've made T-shirts with my name on the front and me on a bike, and on a sidecar is a dog with a pirate patch. And they've got like 30 of these shirts. And they go, "Do the one-eyed dog song." And I go, "Oh my God, what have I started?"
So just to clarify, it's Bike with the One I Love, right?
The one I love,
Yeah,
yes. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, after about 30 listens, I would tell you that I correctly expressed those words properly. Where she got one-eyed dog, I have no idea.
She had a few drinks.
You know, that songwriting, you don't own it anymore. It's not your song anymore.
Yeah.
And I love that part.
Yeah.
You give it to the public, and the public runs with it. And if they run their own way, that's tough bananas, man. Suck it up, Buttercup.
So as an aside, because I know you're a big Michigan guy, my wife and I were up in Mackinac Island last summer, and we biked around the island, and that song just kept going around in my head. Have you ever biked on Mackinac Island?
About 30 or 40, 50 times.
Yeah, isn't that a beautiful bike trail? It's all around the perimeter of the island, and
yeah, it's about 6-7 miles around.
It's 8 miles,
and you know that.
And every spot is a beautiful view for 8 miles. You could just stop anywhere.
So glad you saw it. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something about Mackinac Island. They have had 125 years of no cars.
Mm-hmm.
They only have horses, of course, bicycles, and pedestrians. And they do have a police car and an ambulance in the middle of the island in a barn in the event of an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was in 1998, they actually hit each other. So the record of no accidents on that island that lasted for 125 years got broke, which is always, I get a kick out of that one. But it's an amazing place. Nothing like it. And you go to Puddin Bay. We bike on Puddin Bay too.
I have not been, no.
Yeah, Puddin Bay is a great island. So you can't mess with, the other thing about riding beach life. How tough is that, right? Bike ride around the island.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar Island. You try to find things that are not only catchy, but they signal where you're going quickly. Short phrase means everything, Impact hit,
As long as you mentioned it, I got my Guitar Island T-shirt on here. Tell me about.
I see that. Yeah.
Pick this up at Maddie's when I talked to you. Last
very nice
month?
Shirts, aren't they?
Yeah, very nice.
They hang in
So
good. I'm really proud of them.
tell us about Guitar Island.
Well, I don't know how you're doing this, Bill, but you're hitting the same couple again. That's Jay and Kim's story.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they bought a cottage, and they have a boat, and they had a great location on this little lake. And the first thing they wanted to do was take out the windows and make them bigger so they could see more of the lake. And when we go on boat trips in Torch Lake, which is another beautiful gem if you ever get a chance to go there.
Is this all in Michigan?
Yeah. It's like 2.5 miles long, maybe 20 miles long. I'd have to look this up. But it's 184 feet deep, and you can see the bottom because it's all from glacier made, and it's so clear. It's the shape of a torch, but the Indians called it Torch Lake because they could fish at night with just a torch. It was so clear. And we did some boating on that. Well, right at Torch Lake, they have a sandbar, that's where Kid Rock does all his videos. Okay. And we were on the boat with the kids. They're two boys. They're about 10 and 12 at the time, and they were trying to not let the kids look at the behavior of the people on the sandbar. Although the parents were looking because they kind of wish they were there instead with their kids, I think. And that's why I say, I think the bridge talks about what a great time to have your kids playing air guitar, so they can't see what the hell's going on with the real world. And that's what Guitar Island's all about, because everywhere we go, it's Guitar Island.
Yeah, and it's a great album cover design with the shape of a guitar,
that was
an island
by,
shaped on the guitar.
Weiland did that. He's a very famous dude. You know Weiland's galleries?
I don't. I read about it, but I'm not otherwise familiar with it.
There's one in Key West. He's got one in all around the world, Hawaii. He's a pretty big deal. He has the 50 whaling walls. So, like, there's one in Isla Morada. There's one in Key West.
Oh, okay.
Where he's taken buildings and he's put just whales up there and fish and done some beautiful work. So, he's a great guy.
How did it come about for him to do your album cover?
Well, we're back to the lessons I learned from Jimmy, and of course the charitable behavior of the Parrot Heads. I'm a lucky guy. Jimmy said one time, he said, I'm not the best guitar player or the best singer in the world, but I'm the best Jimmy Buffett you'll ever get. And I live by those rules because there are better players, there's better songs, there's better singers, but I wanted to do something for the music department in Key West, a fundraiser for the kids. It was after one of the major hurricanes, and so I decided to take an album called The Key West Connection, mainly because Hemingway actually spent most of his time in Michigan way before Key West. And we have a great legacy up here in Michigan about Hemingway's life here. And so I have a Hemingway song, I stole Jimmy Buffett's TV guy, Cap Tony, a lot of things from Key West. I put out an album and wanted to take it as a fundraiser for the kids. Well, I get a call from Coral, Cap Tony's daughter. She goes, I've got a friend that's going to call you in a minute to help you with the fundraiser, and you're just going to say yes. And it was a Lorien Hemingway, which would be Ernest's great-great-granddaughter, and she wrote some of the lyrics of those songs. And I'm like going, I'm on the phone with a Hemingway.
Wow.
And it was, but Coral went to school with her in Key West, and they spent time together. They're just friends, it's a normal life for them.
Yeah.
The next thing you know is Weiland. Weiland's originally from Michigan. And Weiland, I'd known him a couple times stopping in the store, and I gave him some CDs. And he called me and goes, so what are you doing? An album with a Hemingway, and I'm not doing the cover. And I go, you're on, brother. This is just coming together beautifully.
Yeah.
Now, if I wanted to go out and find famous people to do this kind of work, it might be a struggle, but they came to me, and I was very, very fortunate. And then we left a nice check to the kids a couple years later.
Wonderful.
And I'll never forget the guys at the Meeting of the Minds loved it because the marching band were at the Casa doing concerts and shows. And they get on the microphone, and in comes the marching band to receive the check from our fundraiser. So
that's great.
It was cool, so cool. And the Weiland and I have been tight ever since. And Lauren, she lives out in Seattle. I've texted her a couple times, but I think she's getting up there in the age where she's not returning Texas. And so but I learned that all, those are Jimmy Buffett lessons, man.
Yeah.
He redid Hey Good Looking because he did a house concert at Tennessee Williams' place when all he had was a bike and a guitar. And the one request from Tennessee Williams was Hey Good Looking. So that's why he recorded it again, years later after he played it as a young man in Key West. So this constant evolution and development of good people, good cause, good purpose, good lyrics, like guys doing what you're doing, good people doing good things. It's
Thank you.
A no-brainer.
Thank you.
It's a win-win.
And another great person that you wrote about and sing about is Sonny Jim. You got a song about the legend of Sonny Jim, who was on my podcast a month or two ago as well.
He's a great guy.
How did that
Super
one come
dude.
about? What's that all about?
That was more than humorous because his father lived in Galveston. He's since passed, but his name was Shady Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
So Shady Floyd gave birth to Sonny Jim. So there was always something a little Jerry Springer about that right there. What happened was Jim was down in the Cayman Islands with his family, wife and 2 kids, playing guitar at the Hyatt, and he wrote a song called Blame It on the Rum, which they used in the movie The Firm. And when that happened, the father, who was really worried about his ability to make a living for a family, kind of turned his head and went, well, he's in the movie. So Shady Floyd went down, met Gene Hackman, saw the movie being filmed, thought, oh, my kid's really making it. Well, everybody goes home, and the local government tells Sonny Jim, we have a problem. You're taking work away from the locals. So if you want to stay here, you've got to give up guitar and play something else or do something else. And he took up steel drums, and that's what led him to be a steel drum player. He managed to do that, keep the family together, feed the kids, and they both ended up, kids both graduated from college. I just thought he was a perfect example of a guy that needs to be legendary because he's a great guy, and he did what he dreamed to do, still carried the family through.
Wonderful.
Guitar slip here. So that's how that song happened. The funniest part about that is, if you go to the beginning of the song, I try to do a good rhyme scheme, and I said they even have an Elvis impersonator. He's a dead ringer. Mm-hmm. And I just did it for comic relief. This is a Shakespearean concept that I learned from school, and it was supposed to be funny. And after I got the song done, Sonny Jim goes, I got a question for you too. How did you know about the Elvis impersonator? I go, I didn't. It was just for comic relief. He goes, we had one from the Philippines. It was just awful. And he had to change his job too. So these songs, man, they give you life and a position. They take a life of their own, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
1, 2, 3, feed the family, working his one-man band, and the locals are amazed. Oh yeah, they are. How well he plays. Everyone is employed on this island west of St. Croix, and no one could be prouder than his father, Shady Floyd. Play it, Jim.
You have another one called Born to Ride. Is that about a real group of bikers?
It is about, I'm glad we got away from Jay and Kim for a minute. This is about my friends Todd and Renee Miller out of Punta Gorda area now, but originally from New York. And their story is classic because they would come to Key West. They saw me in Nashville. They saw me in Michigan a couple times. I'm trying to think else. Indianapolis, I think. It was several times I would see them, and then I would never see them again. And they would do it always on their motorcycles. And I would go, kind of, they just get on their bikes, ride, come see me, and it goes months I don't see them. Well, I found out Renee had a double lung transplant. And when she was feeling healthy enough, they would bike to see Don, and when they weren't, she just wouldn't. And she's the longest living recipient of a double lung transplant in the history of America.
Is that right?
I thought that was the kind of people needed to be written about. And then I think I was polishing off in Destin when I was working at Lulu's, so in the Gulf Shores area. So I wrote about the Gulf Shores, a place they had not been, but since then they have ridden their bikes there. So it's just, I hate to hug a song, but that was one I could hug. Because the music brought us together. That's the other thing.
Do you still see them?
Oh yeah, I see them all the time in Florida. I don't see them much up here anymore, but in Florida I see them.
They're still riding their bikes?
Still riding their bikes, and I'm still singing that song.
All right.
They were born to ride. They were born to ride. They were born to ride. They were born to ride.
And another one of my favorites is I Wish I Owned an Island.
That's about Mackinac Island.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Okay.
You go back and look at all. You're in my, I don't want to say complicated wheelhouse, but if I don't do those two songs every so often, I forget lyrics because they kind of ramble, but they tell a story, and I Wish I Owned an Island I Could Travel the Sea. I was always kind of suspect to seasickness and fear of water. I almost drowned when I was a young boy, and I've overcome it. I go boating a lot now, and I love the water. But I had some issues with it. And there's the ferry you took from Mackinac City or St. Ignace to get on the island. That's the Straits of Mackinac, and that can get real rough there.
Yeah,
and that boat ride can be real rough. And I was playing there 3 or 4 times a year. And we'd go up in May or maybe even April, and it'd be real rough. And I said, I wish I owned an island that could travel the sea, because you'd be on land, and you'd move around, and you wouldn't have that problem. And if you go through all the lyrics,
I feel the same way.
Yeah, it talks about the British, the French. Mackinac Island is next to, like, New Orleans, one of the most amazing historical spots, because it was owned by the Indians, the British, the French, fur traders, Americans. They were fighting after the War of 1812 was ended in New Orleans. They were still fighting for another couple years because they didn't know the war was over. So it's got a lot of historical. You were there, you saw it. It's really like going back in time. And I bring in all those components of that in that song, including fudge. And it's all about Mackinac.
A lot of fudge. Yep. And a lot of things to clean up on the streets in Mackinac Island.
Yes, exactly.
The way to get around is by horse.
I'll tell you, one of the cutest things of recent with that island is the taxis are all horse-drawn.
Right.
And for years they didn't have internet. So, if you wanted to leave, you just go outside and wait for a horse to come along. Now they have internet, so you can be in a bar, and with the speed of the internet, it'll say your taxi waits outside. You go out there, and it's clippity-clop.
Yeah.
So the speed of the internet gets you on the slowest possible means of transportation. So the irony there is too funny for me, because it's probably a good song. Internet's there, but the taxi just isn't there.
There you go.
No, you don't want to be in a hurry if you got to get somewhere.
No.
So I wished I owned an island that could travel the sea. I'd take my friends and all my family, head to Bermuda, maybe Tripoli. I wished I owned an island that could travel the sea. And if you wonder which one I'd pick for fun, Mackinac Island, Michigan. We could reenact the British battle when we pull into the English Channel. Be on a carriage and a horse, and we pull into the Amsterdam port. Watch the Frenchmen all flip out when they see an island come about. Go down to Spain, watch a bullfighter lunge as we knock off a pound and a half of fudge.
You were telling me about the preacher in Pennsylvania.
Just an example of how the world has gotten different and fun and enjoyable. If used properly. This guy from Facebook from Pennsylvania, he just wrote on my page, he goes, "This might be strange for you to know or think about, but I'm a minister, priest, and I'm not sure what denomination, in Pennsylvania, and your music means so much to me. Before I have worship, and often before hospice, I listen to your music. And you may not realize this, but almost every one of your songs ends up somehow positive. And I just appreciate what you're doing. And coming from the pew, I thought you should know you have a fan. And I'm like, blew me away, because you
Yeah.
know you don't expect it to come from that. And I didn't know that all my messages were so positive, but evidently I'll take it. That's what you're trying to accomplish. So it's beautiful, and I hope to meet the man one day.
Right.
How's that?
Right. Right. For an artist to hear that from somebody, to know that their music is making an impact in the world, means a lot.
Absolutely. I'm working on a
So
new song
tell me,
called "Stay Busy, Stay Young," and it's a lot about. It's called advice from a young sailor, because I have a song called "Advice from an Old Sailor," and this is a advice from a young sailor. I want to take a young man's perspective, and
good idea.
yeah. So I wish I had 24 hours and didn't have to sleep, because I'd be writing all the time. I love it.
That's great when you feel that way. You love your job, you love what you do,
Yeah.
and you just want to do more. That's wonderful. You're a lucky man.
Yeah, I feel that, because I see people that work don't like work, and I get it. I didn't like digging ditches either. So
Right. So how did you get into this? How did you first start making music and decide you wanted to be a singer-songwriter?
well, this actually started in college. I was attracted to guitars. My mom did a great job when I was about 16, 17. She thought I was losing interest in sports, and she was afraid I would get involved with girls. So she got me a really nice guitar with an amazing instructor, and I took to it, and it kind of backfired, because girls seem to like musicians sometimes. So I don't know what she was thinking, but I go with it. I'm good with it. And
It worked for you.
yeah, I was in college, and I got in a band. I wasn't. I mean, Bill, I was awful. I mean, I went to the music department at Michigan State. Said, you teach guitar? No, they don't. They have a jazz band, but no guitar players for it. And I go, you are a major university, and you do not have a program for guitar. And next thing you know, I'm in the jazz band, and I'm first chair, only chair, and the first guy to ever play for the Michigan State Jazz Band. And I was absolutely awful. But I was back there plucking notes, just trying to get my game on. And
Yeah.
then I joined the band. And there again, I didn't sing a note. I played guitar, but wasn't very good. Kevin to this day will tell you, well, Don, we just liked you a lot. We just couldn't get rid of you. But I learned my chops slowly. And then we got into a production company called Windfall Talent. And we booked concerts and shows. And I was still playing a little bit, but we were doing Willie Nelson and Reba McEntire and Meatloaf and Hall & Oates. And I found my way through the business of it, learned all that, learned about merchandise. And then I started playing over in Saugatuck, Michigan. And it changed my life, because we got a house gig. I was with a duo, Susie and I. And the real turning point, and this is a really sweet story from me, is this guy came up to me one time. I was probably doing a couple James Taylors. I think I only knew Margaritaville. And I was doing some originals and, Jim Croce, and I was just a cover guy. And he goes, you know much about these Parrot Heads? And I go, not really. And he goes, you know much about Jimmy Buffett? And I go, not really. He goes, well, I'm going to tell you something. The internet's coming around, and these Parrot Heads are going to be connected long after Jimmy's gone. And it would be wise of you to look into this. And his name is Barry Cutler. And I'd say I met Barry twice. About a 20-minute talk in the Saugatuck back at the Butler, telling me that advice. And then I drove to Traverse City when I heard he was on his deathbed to thank him. Because I went out after he told me that. I got 3 CDs of Jimmy Buffett, and we never looked back. And that was the beginning. But I always tell the guys I book today, be sponges, take advice. Mark Twain said, I learn from other people's mistakes, because I haven't the time in my life to make all the mistakes that can be made. That's a paraphrase. But I've always thought that
Mm-hmm.
way, and I want to thank Barry for giving me guidance that was invaluable.
Tell me a little bit about your personal life and how you balance your demanding career with your personal life.
Well, I've got a very wonderful woman in my life, and she's got two great kids. They're way out of the nest at 25 and 29 and 27, maybe 26. I should probably know that. And we have a home in Grand Rapids. I'm presently in East Lansing, Hazlet, Michigan, my little college place I bought when I was 24. A little 3-bedroom on a golf course. And I've got a place in Florida, in Mount Dora, I've had for 21 years. And she's a retired probation officer, although she's back to work full-time, working for Amway hotels and Hiltons. And we travel together, and we play together, and I'm over here for 3 or 4 days working on my day job and playing guitar and gigging, and then I'll go back to Grand Rapids for the weekend. We go to a wedding, and we just bounce back and forth and have fun like we always have. It's been great.
All right. Speaking of weddings, you told me this story in New Berlin last month. How many weddings have you played?
Well, I've played about 30 weddings over the career, and about 3 or 4 people I'm aware of are still together. So I don't do weddings anymore. It's just not a good percentage. I wouldn't be on the team. It's a bad batting average. And it was really cute. It might have been more than that, but I told that story one afternoon at the Butler Deck in Saugatuck, and 2 or 3 of the couples came up, and they were different people, and they go, we will validate your claim because you played our wedding and we're not with that same person anymore. So I got witnesses.
So if people want to learn more about you, where can they go?
Well, you go to my website, which is donmiddlebrook.net. You can find me on Pandora. You can tell Alexa to play Don Middlebrook. No E at the end. You can go to Amazon, Apple. You can go to Spotify. You can go to any streaming outlet you want. I'm in 48,000 jukeboxes. Still one of my claims to fame. I always get a kick out of that. As I tell my players this all the time, because if you're going to play a 3-hour gig, it's 3 hours whether you're happy, sad, tired, or if you're on game. And I was getting ready for a gig, and I frankly, I know the feeling. I didn't really want to go. I was kind of like, I'm just tired, man. I'd love to have a day off. Well, I jumped in my boots and got my game on. I'm glad I did, because the guy was there from AMI Jukeboxes. He came in to see me, and he goes, I love your music. It's kind of not the protocol, but we have all these stars and rock stars and classic rock stars in our jukebox. I'd love to put you in all my jukeboxes. And I maybe have made 30 or 40 bucks from it, and I've probably spent 60 or 70 of my own money, because I love going to a bar. You know what it's like to go into a bar and go, or say this guy, you want to go to a gig at this place, and I go in, they go, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, come here, I'm in your jukebox. It's a great selling point. It's always
so the 48,000 is that a real number, or you just threw that?
Yeah, I think they're over that now. They've got like 48,000 jukeboxes.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's one in Froggers in Mount Dora. There's a guy I know that always hangs out there, and if I go in to have a beer, I think saying, I'm hearing me, because he goes, I just always get a kick out of you walking in, and I go, hey, that guy, that's him up on the jukebox. So it's just cute fun. Never was going to be.
I'll look for that.
I am not in this business. That's the other thing I tell my guys: do not get in this business for money. If you want to be into money, become a doctor, lawyer. If you want to be able to tell stories that you're in a jukebox and you only made $50 in a lifetime, get in the music business. You'll have a ball. So it's
so expand on that a little bit. What else is it about being a musician that you love so much?
Well, people, I mean, things have changed a bit because of the internet, of course, and phones. But in the day when I started, like in the late, mid 80s, the greatest thing you could possibly do to change the world would be music. I mean, we came out of the post-Woodstock era where music was the coolest thing. Everybody wanted to play guitar. Now they can get their phones and computers and change the world or screw up the world. But back then, it was the way to change the world. And as of today, I still feel like music is one of the greatest communication tools for bringing people together. In fact, my company's logo is called the Gig Factory, bringing people together with music. It's just a great catalyst. I hardly ever meet anybody that goes, I hate music. So it's always a good icebreaker. And today, like I'll go out tonight and have dinner and I'll run into a young kid and I'll give him a flyer, which is way old school. And he'll go, I'll take a picture. I go, you can keep it. But I'm playing tomorrow night down the street for the end of the summer blowout party. In fact, how do you get your music on your phone? He'll go Spotify or Apple. I go, pull up my name, and they'll go, oh my God, you're on the internet. You're like huge. You're a big deal, which is not the case. But I have a good calling card.
Well, pretty
and then I have young people that actually like me because they feel like we've made a connection. We have because of music, because I've got a good calling card. This guy the other night, I ran into him 2 nights in a row, and he's like, oh my God, dude, we listen to your music all the time on our boat. We just love it. So I'm not bragging and I'm not boastful when I meet them, but it's so nice to have a bridge to conversation, friendship, and relationships. And music has been that variable. Used properly, music is all it could be, which is it can save the world. It can bring people together. And I love that. Valuable. Now I love the computers. I love the studio. I love guitar players. Rush, my guitar player is so damn good. I mean, I can't get these guys on the road like all these other guys get on the road. But when he plays guitar, it stops me. Like, I'll play my leads, and then he'll play his leads, and I'll look at Ricky, and Ricky goes, do you want to play any guitar on your album? I go, no, I want it to be the best it can be, and I want Rush to do it because he's better than me. So it's great. It's teamwork. It's disciplines. It's everything that people love about sports. It's competitive. And it brings people together. So there's nothing like music.
All right. That's a great note to finish on. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed our conversation.
See you, Bill. We wouldn't
thanks
have
for being
tonight if we didn't have music. So even if we were talking about somebody else's music, it brings us together. I love it. And thanks for all you do.
Exactly. Well, thank you. And I wish you continued success, and I hope to see you on the road again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Say hi to Wisconsin. The sweetest people in the world, by the way, Wisconsin's.
There you go. I agree with you.
Guys?
Thank you again, Don Middlebrook, for joining me on the Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast. For more information about Don, visit beachmaniac.com, where this podcast is housed and where you'll find both an audio and video podcast, along with some video clips, a blog with a podcast transcript, and links to Don's website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Instagram account. You'll also find the video podcast on the Beach Maniac YouTube channel. Just search for Beach Maniac Island Music Podcast. And thanks to everyone for joining me, Bill Hurley, the Beach Maniac, as we go behind the scenes and explore the magic behind the music. For more about me and my passion, visit beachmaniac.com or contact me at bill@beachmaniac.com. Remember, whether you're soaking up the sun or catching the waves, we hope you're feeling those good beach vibes. Until next time, keep the sand between your toes and the ocean breeze in your hair. Stay safe, stay cool, and we'll catch you on the next wave.
Traded suit ties for sandals and caps.